Welcome to the module on cyclone. By the end of this module, you will be able to define cyclone, list the types of cyclones, explain the causes of cyclone, explain the characteristics and impact of cyclones, explain the effects of landfall, identify the warning signs and predictions, identify safety procedures to be followed in a cyclone situation, and explain the role of volunteers. Cyclone is a large-scale air mass that rotates around a strong center of low atmospheric pressure. These are accompanied by strong winds that rotate counterclockwise in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere. Cyclones can be the most intense storms on Earth. The swirling air rises and cools, creating clouds and precipitation. An anticyclone is the opposite of a cyclone. Anticyclone winds rotate clockwise in the northern hemisphere around a center of high pressure. Air comes in from above and sinks to the ground. High-pressure centers generally have fair weather. The terms related to a cyclone include eye of the cyclone and front. The eye of a cyclone is a low-pressure area where the pressure has been measured to be the lowest relative to its surroundings. The boundary where the hot and cold air masses meet is called the front. Let us next learn about the various types of cyclones. There are two types of cyclones. They are middle or mid-latitude cyclones and tropical cyclones. Click each tab to know more. Mid-latitude cyclones are the main cause of winter storms in the middle latitudes. They are large weather systems formed along fronts with a low-pressure center and diverse weather conditions. Tropical cyclones are also known as hurricanes. Tropical cyclones are destructive storms with strong winds forming over warm ocean waters centered around a low-pressure eye. Tropical cyclones have many names. They are called hurricanes in the North Atlantic and Eastern Pacific Oceans, typhoons in the Western Pacific Ocean, tropical cyclones in the Indian Ocean and willies in the waters near Australia. So far, we have discussed the different types of cyclones. Let us next understand the causes of cyclones. Cyclones, also known as hurricanes or typhoons, are powerful and destructive tropical storms. The formation of a cyclone starts with warm seas creating a humid air mass, which rises and forms a low-pressure cell called a tropical depression. Thunderstorms develop around this depression, and if the temperature exceeds 28 degrees Celsius, the air rotates counterclockwise around the low pressure. Water vapor condenses, releasing energy from the latent heat. Hurricanes are massive storms with high-speed winds, heavy rainfall, and a powerful storm surge. Hurricanes can generate tornadoes and travel up to 800 kilometers in a day. A hurricane loses energy and speed after hitting land. However, the dissipation process is not immediate. Cyclone damage comes from storm surge, flooding, extreme winds, tornadoes and lightning. In the video on causes of a cyclone, we saw a cyclone's center crossing over from the ocean onto the land. This specific event is referred to as landfall. Let's discuss this event in detail. Landfall is the intersection of the center of a tropical cyclone with a coastline. In other words, landfall is when the eye of the cyclone moves to land after being on the water. This does not mean that the cyclone has hit the land or has arrived. The cyclone arrives hours before the landfall, bringing rainfall and dust storms. A landfall often causes heavy winds, lashing rains, increasing sea levels. These can pose a threat to the people living in the neighboring regions. A hurricane or cyclone can start losing its energy and speed after hitting the land. This is because they do not get energy from the warm ocean water. However, this does not happen very quickly. We have seen how cyclones can be destructive and cause significant damage to property and loss of human lives. A timely warning helps people in the affected areas take the necessary precautions and reduce the risk of injury or loss of life. Let's next understand the various stages of a warning. Cyclone warnings are issued to the state government officials in 4 stages. They are pre-cyclone watch, cyclone alert, cyclone warning and post-landfall lookout. Drag the pointer to each stage to know more. A pre-cyclone watch is issued 72 hours in advance and contains early warning about the development of a cyclonic disturbance in the Indian Ocean or Arabian Sea. The cyclonic disturbance intensifies into a tropical cyclone and the coastal belt experiences adverse weather. This early warning bulletin is issued by the India Meteorological Department or IMD and is addressed to the senior officers of the Government of India and the Chief Secretaries of the maritime states concerned. The color code for cyclone alert is yellow and is issued 48 hours in advance. It provides early warning of an approaching cyclone. The color code for cyclone warning is orange. It is issued 24 hours in advance. It indicates cyclone position, intensity, landfall, surge height, damage and suggested actions. Post-landfall lookout color code is red and is issued 12 hours in advance of the expected time of landfall. It predicts the cyclone's direction, weather and interior conditions. So far, you have learnt about cyclone, its types, its causes and the 4-stage warning. Now, let's take up an activity to check your understanding of the topic. Match each of the given terms with its description, drag the term and drop it in the slot to match its description. Then, click Submit. Now, let us look at the necessary actions that need to be taken in the event of a cyclone threat. The actions that need to be taken are broadly divided into 4 stages. These include actions immediately before the cyclone season, actions when cyclone alerts and warnings are communicated, actions when evacuations are ordered and measures to be taken post-cyclone. Click on each stage to know more. Prior to the cyclone's arrival, follow these guidelines. Check the house, secure loose tiles and carry out repairs of doors and windows, remove dead branches or dying trees close to the house, anchor removable objects, such as lumber piles, loose tin sheets, loose bricks, garbage cans, signboards and so on that can fly in strong winds, demolish dilapidated buildings. Keep some wooden boards ready so that glass windows can be covered. If required, keep a hurricane lantern filled with kerosene, battery-operated torches and enough dry cells. Keep some extra batteries for transistors and keep some dry non-perishable food ready for use during emergency. Let's look at what we should do when alerts and warnings regarding cyclones are communicated. Listen to the radio because all India radio stations give weather warnings. Keep monitoring the warnings. This will help you prepare for a cyclone emergency. Pass the information to others. Leave early before your way to higher ground or shelter gets flooded. If your house is securely built on high ground, take shelter in the safest part of the house. Board up glass windows or put storm shutters in place. Provide strong suitable support for outside doors. If you do not have wooden boards handy, paste paper strips on glasses to prevent splinters. However, this may not avoid breaking of windows. Get extra food, which can be eaten without cooking. Store extra drinking water in suitably covered vessels. If you have to evacuate the house, move your valuable articles to upper floors to minimize flood damage. Small and loose things, which can fly in strong winds, should be stored safely in a room. Ensure that your hurricane lantern, torches or other emergency lights are in working condition and keep them handy. Make provision for children and adults who require special diet. Switch off the electrical mains in your house and remain calm. Till now, we have learned what to do during cyclone alerts and warnings. Now let us learn what not to do. Don't spread rumors. This will help avoid panic situations. Believe official information only. Don't go near low-lying beaches or other low-lying areas close to the coast. When your area is under cyclone warning, do not delay and expose yourself to the possibility of being stranded. Do not hesitate to leave your house. If asked to evacuate, don't open the windows and doors on the side that is facing the wind. If the center of the cyclone is passing directly over your house, there will be a lull in the wind and rain lasting for half an hour or so. During this time, do not go out. This is because immediately after the lull, the storm will resume. Follow these guidelines when evacuation orders are issued. Pack essentials for yourself and your family to last a few days. These should include medicines, special food for babies and children or elders. Go to the proper shelter or evacuation points indicated for your area. Do not worry about your property during the evacuation and at the shelter. Follow the instructions of the person in charge and remain in the shelter until you are informed to leave. The measures that need to be taken after the cyclone has passed are: remain in the shelter until you are informed that you can return home, get inoculated against diseases immediately, strictly avoid any loose and dangling wires from lamp posts, drive only if necessary, and clear the debris from your premises immediately and report the correct losses to the appropriate authorities. Now, let us look at the role of volunteers in a cyclone incident. Volunteers can actively participate in distribution of clean water and non-perishable food. They can help in cleaning of homes from mud and in clearing demolished homes and shops. They can help in removing fallen trees and other debris from the place. Volunteers can support the government departments in restoration of basic amenities and also actively participate in relief camp management. With this, we have come to the end of the module. Let's recollect the key points discussed in the module. A cyclone is a large-scale air mass that rotates around a strong center of low atmospheric pressure. There are mainly two types of cyclones. They are middle-latitude cyclones that are formed along fronts with a low-pressure center and diverse weather conditions, and tropical cyclones that are formed over warm ocean waters, centered around a low-pressure eye. When a cyclone makes landfall, it can bring devastating effects such as high winds, heavy rainfall, storm surges, and potential damage to infrastructure and property. Cyclone warnings are issued to the state government officials in 4 stages. They are pre-cyclone watch, cyclone alert, cyclone warning, and post-landfall lookout. Look, it is crucial to heed warning signs, predictions, evacuation orders and measures to be taken post-cyclone, which are issued by the authorities. Now, it is time to check your understanding of the topic. This is an evaluation exercise. All questions are equally weighted. You need to score at least 60% to pass the test. Read the questions carefully and select the appropriate options.